and the organization envisioned to facilitate global and business communities with a networking form where they can build new relationship based on mutual reciprocity. Now, one of the mandates of PCC is it is built on a 3C model. When we talk of 3C model, it's called capacity building, capital building, and community building. That's the 3C model that PCC has it. We also have a strict no religion and no politics policy in place. These are some of the places where we have the chapter. We won't go through too much into these details. If somebody is looking for, we can share all these information. We have variety of different programs, but our today's session is on NRI Banking and Remittance. And that's our first session today. And the session is being presented by Nitin Garg. Nitin is the founder of NZT Financial Solutions. So Nitin is a dynamic person who lives and breathes two opposite sectors together, one by passion and another by profession. A successful professional in IT sector with more than 17 years. He completed his executive MBA with University of Toronto, where he got the required direction and inspiration to start his own financial firm to pursue his passion in finance. An immigrant himself, he understands the unique needs of immigrants in Canada and is dedicated to address those through the unique offering of his firm NZT Financial Solutions, with a motto of making financial management stress-free and seamless for everybody. Over to you, Nitin. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you for this nice introduction. Let me share my screen. And let me know if you guys are able to see this.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Welcome everyone. A beautiful white evening. So thank you, Dinesh, for the introduction. My name is Nitin Garg. I am the founder of NZT Financial Solutions, where I deal with NRI community for their banking and remittance needs. Okay, just a quick brief about myself. I am born and brought up in Ambala city from Haryana in India. 17 years experience in IT infrastructure services and a passionate entrepreneur in financial services. I did my MBA from University of Toronto, passed in 2022, and then developed interest in financial subject and started my firm. I have certifications in LLQP, PMP, ACP, DSM, ITIL. So after doing a lot of certifications in IT, changed my portfolio and now trying to shift the quantity in financial sector. I moved to Canada in 2018 and
at the next light, turn right.
When I started this business, I realized that, okay, I was going through all my challenges of being an NRI and see how I can help the community to overcome those challenges.
At the left, turn right onto Burnham Thorpe Road West.
Maybe someone needs to mute. Hey, Abhishek, maybe.
You mute. Everybody, please mute yourself if you're not speaking. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I am living in Brampton with my wife and daughter, and I love collecting coins. I'm a numismatist, started collecting Indian coins and now almost have 70 plus country coins. I love playing board games and playing cards. Now, before I jump to my topic, let me quickly ask, have you ever felt any of the below concerns whenever you, being an NRI out of India, wants to remit your funds in India or handle your funds in India? Something like, I don't want to pay 20% tax on remittance. The banks are charging so much commission. The documentation is so complex. I'll buy property in Canada once I sell property in India, or I have sold property in India, but I don't know how to bring money. I don't understand NRO, NRE account benefits, or I would handle my money only when I go to India and I can't process my banking documentation being in Canada. Does anyone of the audience here thought of these challenges or these concerns, or even did not do any of your finance handling of in India? Yep, I see someone thumbs up.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, same here.
Absolutely.
Few of them.
Yeah.
Perfect. So see, that is where we come into picture, NZT Financial Solutions, and we'll go through step by step on. First, let's understand what is NRI, what are the different types of bank accounts, and what are the remittance guidelines. Now, defining a non-resident Indian, legally speaking, the person who is not residing in India is a non-resident Indian. However, it is not that simple either. In India, there are 3 acts that actually defines your residential status in India. This is Aadhaar Act, which defines your residency based on the number of days in India. Then the Income Tax Act based on the duration of stay and income earned. And then FEMA, which is more related to controlling foreign exchange market and external trade. Now, having said so, there are few definitions that we should understand. First is NRI. Who is NRI? NRI is an individual who is a citizen of India and who is not a resident of India, right? This is when, let's say I see most of us are Indians, or maybe everyone is Indian here, right? We were residents of India or citizens of India and we moved to Canada. So we became NRI. Now, PIO, person of Indian origin, people who are foreign citizens like myself. I am actually not an NRI. I am a PIO because now I'm a Canadian citizen, but I was once an Indian citizen, or I once held an Indian passport. Now, let's say if my daughter, she was born in, although she was not born in India, Canada, but let's say if she would have born in Canada, she would also be PIO because we are we were Indian citizens, or even if her grandparents were Indian citizens, they would also be PIO. The next category is the OCIs, the overseas citizen of India, like me. So after getting Canadian citizenship and surrendering Indian citizenship, I applied for India's permanent residency. That's where it's like we come on PR in Canada. Similarly, OCI is like a India PR. Next is resident but not ordinary resident. Now, this is a little bit a complex status of India, being a resident of India, wherein the status is defined based on how many days of residency you have in India and how much income you have earned in India. There are actually five categories, and it requires another 1 hour of discussion, so I'll not go into much details. Now, anyone other than who falls in these 4 categories is actually a resident of India. So which is called ROR, right? So resident and ordinary resident. Now, funny it is that it's defining a resident of India is not that simple. Now, another factor is these definitions, right? Your definition of being an NRI, PIO, that keeps changing. These are not the firm definitions, and this changes as per economic landscape defined by RBI and Government of India. Now, and any questions on this topic before I move to the next part? Anyone? No? Okay. Now, as I mentioned, right, we have so many doubts or concerns about our bank accounts in India, and we face a challenge as how do we do banking in India while being an NRI? Now, there are 5 different types of bank accounts that actually has been allowed by Government of India, serving the resident and the non-resident community Indians. Now, I'll go through them one by one. Now, first is the resident account, which we all are pretty much aware of when being a resident of India, or let's say citizen of India. We have this account where the currency type can only be in rupee. We can have a joint account with any resident of India. We can do a repatriation under LRS scheme. I'll come to this LRS scheme and the restrictions in the later part of this session. And then all the capital gains are governed by the income tax laws and income tax provisions in India. We can offer different types of account: savings, current, recurring, FDs with minimum 7 days and max 10 years. Permitted transactions, almost all transactions are permitted except the NRE. So basically, we can move funds from outside India to resident account from other NRE, NRO, FCNR accounts. Majority of investments can be deposited to this account. Any income in India can be deposited. The money in this account can be used for local payments and investments. The next type of account is the NRE account, which is called non-resident external account. Now, this account can also be in rupee only, can be opened by NRO, PIO, OCI. It can be a joint account with either of NRO, PIO, OCI, or a resident relative. Now, this resident relative is a key term, which I'll talk about later on, that we just cannot open with any Indian. Next, benefits of this account is freely repatriable, which means there is no limit on how much funds you can transfer from this account to foreign country without any tax implications. Interest on this account is tax-free, which means any investments that you make through your money in NRI account, there does not incur any capital gain tax. There is no wealth tax with the investments made through this account. Again, we can have savings, current, recurring. Fixed deposit has certain limitations that minimum it has to be 1 year, max 10 years. Again, permitted transactions, any money from outside India can be deposited in this account. Any money transactions between different NRE accounts can be done. Maturity of investments, any income in India can be deposited in this account, although it requires some CA certifications. Then we can use this money for local payments or for investments in India, although there are some restrictions on the investments under this account as per FEMA law. Next type of account is the NRO account, which we call as non-resident ordinary account. Again, this account can be in rupee only for residents outside India. Now, this account can be a joint account with NRI, PIO, OCI, repatriable with restrictions. So money from NRO comes under the $1 million scheme, which I'll talk about in the next part of the session. And interest on this on any capital gain in this account attracts a flat rate of 31.2% TDS. Right? Again, we can open a savings, current, recurring, or fixed deposit account. In terms of permitted transactions, any transaction outside India can be deposited to this account. Any NRO accounts transactions can be done. From NRE accounts, we can move the funds from maturity, income in India, local payments. However, one thing that we need to understand here is money from NRO to NRE cannot be deposited straight away. It requires a certain paperwork that we have to complete before this money can be deposited to your NRE account. Coming to the fourth type of account, which we call as foreign currency non-resident account. Now, this is the account which can only be opened in foreign currencies. So majorly 23 of the most common currencies in the world can be opened. This account can be opened in either of those currencies. It can be opened by NRO, PIOs, OCI. Joint account is allowed with the similar category of individual. Benefits, freely repatriable, which means any amount of currency can be repatriated. Interest, no tax, no wealth tax. Now, one beauty of this account is you can maintain your funds in foreign currency and be worry-free of any exchange rate fluctuations. Let's say we are earning in Canadian dollars and we want to invest in India. This is the best account that we say to invest in India, so that we are not worried about the depreciation of the Indian currency. Now, another good part of this account is, let's say if we want to move back to India, maybe in few years or after retirement. Now, any fund in this account can still be retained, right? So we don't have to immediately convert this account. In terms of different types, we can only have a term deposit account, which interchangeably you can say that an FD account, right? Permitted transactions are inward remittance, transfer from NRE, investment maturity, can be used for local payments. Now, the last type of account is RFC, which is called Resident Foreign Currency Account. This is the type of account which basically is opened by NRIs, PIOs, OCI who move back to India. Basically, NRIs who move back to India and then again become residents of India, and PIO OCIs if they settle in India, right? This account can only be opened in very few currencies. Normally, banks prefer only USD and GBP, but sometimes another currency can also be opened depending upon the bank's approval, right? It can own joint account can be opened, but only but when both individuals are from the same category, that is, they are moving from NRI status to Indian citizen status. Then again, freely repatriable FCNR deposits on maturity can be converted to RFC accounts. This is another benefit of this particular account, that you can maintain all your earnings in foreign currency in this account, even when you are a resident of India, right? Normally, if one of the example, let's say that benefits to category is, let's say me and my wife, we move back to India, right? We say, man, we are retired. We want to move back to our home country. But my daughter, she is still studying in a foreign nation. So what I will do is I'll put all my hard-earned income into this account. And let's say in future, my daughter needs money. I have to pay her, let's say, tuition fees. So I don't need to again do the remittance part. I can just transfer from this particular account. This account only allows maximum term of 36 months. And then again, investments are permitted, transfers are permitted. Now, that's all in terms of the 5 types of bank accounts, which normally we as an NRI, we are not aware of, and we always worry about, man, what do we do with our money if we go back to India or if we move out of India? So before I jump to the next section of remittance, any questions related to the banking products? No, or maybe just make a note of the questions and we can address those questions later on. Now, coming to remittance, right? This is where sorry, did I change my screen? No. Okay. So in terms of remittance, right? What is remittance? Remittance is basically a conversion or exchange of currency from one country to another or one account type to another. So it is not just that, okay, you are moving funds from India to any country. Even if, let's say, you are moving funds from your NRO account to NRE, that is also called remittance, right? Now, Government of India has configured 2 schemes for remittance. One is called liberalized remittance scheme. Another one is called $1 million scheme. Now, liberalized remittance scheme is for resident Indians only, and $1 million scheme is for the NRIs. Now, before we go to these schemes, let's talk about TCS. This is the burning topic among NRIs, especially from 1st October 2023, when Government of India changed their guidelines on tax collection for remittance from 5% to 20%, right? So let's understand what is TCS. So TCS is called tax collected at source. It is kind of an advanced tax collected by Income Tax Department under the tax prevention provisions. Now, please make a note that TCS is not a final tax. Consider this as an advanced tax only. Taxpayer will get TCS credit against the PAN card, and this transaction is reflected in their Form 26 AS. And now in the next financial year, when they file taxes for the current assessment year, that is where they are eligible for adjustment or refund of this TCS that they have paid on this. I mean, from this session perspective, let's say on the remittance that they have done, right? And this TCS applies only to Indian residents. Now, this is, we all are NRIs, I believe, NRIs or OCIs here. The key point here to understand is, guys, do not be afraid of TCS because TCS applies only to Indian residents. Now, I'll come to the section later on where we say that why we are worried about TCS, right? I know since we covered the bank accounts, you all might have understood that we are worried about TCS because we have still not declared ourselves as NRI in India. Anyways, now coming to the remittance schemes, let's first talk about the liberalized remittance scheme, which is commonly known as LRS and applies only to resident Indians. So purpose of this scheme is for funds transfer from NRO account in India to foreign account. Oh, sorry. I think this is little bit typo here. Okay, sorry. I think guys, this is a little bit of a shift. The title miss swap, right? So basically, this is the LRS scheme. Let me quickly change the topic, otherwise this will be confusion. So Dineshji, sorry for this, but just give me a quick 2 minutes.
No worries, Nitin. Stuff happens. Here we all are learning. And I'm sure this has been very, very meaningful information for all the participants. So thank you, Nitin, for doing that too.
Yeah, okay. Let me share my screen back. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, so talking about the $1 million remittance schemes, it is used for funds transfer from an NRO account in India to foreign account, right? Now, this is where we need to understand, right? When we talk about TCS. So this is the scheme which is eligible for NRIs, OCIs, and PIOs, and foreign nationals. This scheme is not for residents, right? Now, under this scheme, fund transfer limit is equivalent to $1 million per Indian financial year, which is 1st April to 31st March. Now, what is meant by this equivalent to $1 million USD, which means now although we are remitting in INR, let's say we are remitting in from INR to CAD. So this 1 million limit is calculated based on the transaction value on that day of your INR compared to the US dollars. And now this 1 million limit covers either you do this entire transaction in a single transaction or multiple transactions, but the sum of all transactions should not go up $1 million. Similarly, whether you do it from your single bank account or your multiple bank accounts, it does not matter. The total sum should not increase beyond $1 million. And this is tracked based on your passport. Now, if let's say someone wants to transfer funds for more than $1 million from their NRO accounts under this scheme, then there's a separate process of approval from RBI to clearly state what's the reason for this particular amount, right? Now, under what conditions there are certain conditions or restrictions we talk about. Remittance is not allowed on borrowed funds. Let's say you have a property in India and you take equity, you cannot transfer remittance those funds. Now, gifts can be repatriated from relatives only. Now, there is a certain category of relatives that is defined by Government of India under which we can accept their gifts. Remittance from your own NRO account to third party is restricted. So, for example, let's say you have to make a payment to someone in Canada. So you cannot do directly from your NRO account. There's a separate process for that. Documents required is Form A2, NRI declaration form, multiple, there are various forms that we have to fill based on the source of income, and Form 15 CA, CB that comes into play when we have to use this fund transfer. Okay, now let's come to liberalized remittance scheme, which is for residents only. This is used for funds transfer from a resident account to a non-resident account. Now, this non-resident account can be your NRE account, or it can be your account in, let's say, Canada. It is only for NRIs. In terms of fund transfer limit, again, this is actually only 250,000. Just a moment. Yeah. So in terms of the limit, under LRS, the limit is 250,000 equivalent of US dollars. Again, in the financial year, again, the same limits of whether a single transaction or multiple transactions, it is tracked against your PAN card. And again, if you have to transfer more than 250K being a resident Indian, you have to take RBI approval. Now, what type of remittances are not allowed under this scheme? Any money earned in gambling or lottery is not allowed. You cannot transfer money to certain countries which fall under Financial Action Task Force. Unfortunately, we have 3 countries who are blacklisted as of today, which is Iran, North Korea, and Myanmar. Also, this is actually a key point to note, guys. Remittance from your own resident account in India to your foreign account is a violation. Now, this is where most of us actually try to make a transaction, and that is the red flag that gets generated when we do that. In terms of documents, we just need Form A2, PAN and Aadhaar card, and in certain conditions, we need Form 15 CA and CB. Now, this is a very important table that we should be informed of when we talk about the transactions we do from our resident account. Now, as I said earlier, most of us, even after being in a different country for 5, 10, 15 years, we still hold a resident account in India. And that is where we are worried that, okay, man, I have, let's say, 1 CR in India. I want to remit to Canada, and there's a 20% TCS. These are the TCS guidelines. For education loan, for education purpose, financed under the loan, there is no TCS up to rupees 7 lakh and 0.5% above 7 lakh. For medical purpose, and education other than a loan, there is no TCS up to 7 lakh and 5% above 7 lakh. Other than medical and education, for all other purposes, there is no TCS up to 7 lakh and flat 20% TCS above 7 lakh. Purchase of overseas tour package. Now, let's say being an Indian, we want to purchase a tour package. There's a 5% TCS up to 7 lakh, 20% thereafter. And if we are traveling, let's say an Indian resident is traveling to a foreign nation, there's no TCS on usage of credit cards, right? So this is where we are worried about TCS, about the 20%, all those things comes here. Now, that is all about session on remittance banking. Now, where do we come in picture? Where do NZT Financial Solutions comes into picture in all this plot, right? So we help our clients in any or situations related to their remittance needs, which starts from very basic thing of helping them with their bank account type. We help clients while they are sitting in Canada in converting their accounts or even opening their NRI NRO accounts. They don't have to travel to India. They don't have to travel to any bank in Canada. We do for them. We also help clients in sale of their property in India, and if they want to repatriate those funds after the sale of property, then there could be various situations depending on the individual needs. If your money is lying in a bank account in India, there's an inheritance money, there's gift from relatives, you are earning some income in India, or direct transfer from your relative. NRI clients who do not have Aadhaar card or PAN card, this is one another major challenge that my clients come up with, that, man, I don't have Aadhaar card or PAN card now. My account is frozen. What do I do? That's where we come into picture. Funds from any of your source in terms of stocks and everything, right? And now what? Okay. So what we do, all right, our promise of seamless processing, we ensure that we provide you a best customer experience in terms of customized solution. We, as I said, no branch visits required. We make documentation very simple for you. Remittance from any bank in India to any bank globally. Discount. Okay. Now this is one thing where I say I add value to the customer. When you do the transactions from bank directly, like a lot of customers comes to me saying that, man, I can do this all from the bank. I say, yes, you can, right? But the convenience and the discounts that I pass on to my customers, because I get discounts from the bank for the volume-based transactions. What I provide, see, when we are in the financial sector, we always say there's a difference between being a agent and being an advisor, right? As an advisor, we have to first educate the client, and that's where I come into picture, where I provide knowledge to the client, help them understand the tax implications, the NRI benefits, and the different types of bank accounts. What we handle at the back end, we handle all the compliances, the banking regulations, the FEMA laws, the ITR laws, the documentation, bank conversions, and Form 15 CACB. So you don't need to go to any CA in India. We will take care of all this for you. So again, apart from that, we deal in multiple other services, the remittance. We help you liquidate assets in India without traveling. For example, let's say you have your property, your mutual funds, your investment spread across various banks. We can help you liquidate and repatriate while we will take care of your taxes and legal work. Insurance and investment in Canada, new immigrant and student services, free tax filing for families with modest income. And if you know students who need co-op services, I do provide those co-op services. Okay, now that's all from my side. I leave the house open for questions. I hope I provided valuable information. Any questions, any comments?
Oh, that was very helpful, Nitin. Yeah, so I did not even knew that so many accounts existed. The only one I knew was NRO and NRE.
Thanks, Navdeep.
Perfect. Nitin, can you stop sharing your screen? Then I have a question for you. My question is, I was in India recently, and the money that I had it, whatever the leftover money that I had it, I put it in my NRO account. I came here, I needed some money. I asked the bank that, can I transfer the money that is lying in my NRO account to my bank here? They said, you got to first disclose where did you get that money from too.
Right.
So it's not a large chunk of money. It is only from a Canadian dollar perspective, about $1,000. But they said, hey, you have to disclose where did you get that money from before even you can transfer that money from your NRO account to your Canada's account. Okay. How do I handle that?
So Dinesh, yeah, that is actually correct. That's the procedure, and that is what I actually mentioned in my presentation also. When we are talking about NRO accounts, there's a lot of vigilance. It is only with the NRO accounts that we have to show the trail of money. What is the source of income? Where is this money
Papa,
coming from? And
देखो
based on
वो
the
आपका
source
डायपर भी चेंज हो गया और काफी देर भी हो गई, अब आप खाना खा लो जो आया है।
Kapil, do you
Sir,
mind
can you
muting yourself?
जितना
mute
खाया जाए
yourself?
उतना खा लो, ठीक है?
Sir, who's Kapil?
हो
Can
गया।
you mute yourself,
खाना
please?
खाना है वो आपका, वो रख के।
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, for NRO accounts, yes. So there are actually multiple forms for remittance from NRO account under this $1 million remittance scheme. So yes, we need to show the money where it came from. And another key point to note for NRO account is that we can only transfer a gifted money when it is coming from a relative as per the section 277. So not every relative is allowed to give you a gift and which you can remit from NRO account. So there are certain conditions which I can maybe I can talk to you regarding your case separately, that where does the money came from, and now how we can do the repatriation of those funds.
Yeah, perfect. Good point. Maybe I'll give you a call separately and we'll talk about that too. But you provided very useful information. You and me can chat separately. I'll leave it for the other people's to.
Yeah, I see a question from Ravi. TDS rate can be 20% in some cases in capital gain. Please confirm. See, TDS, yes. I mean, which account type are you talking about, Ravi? I'm not sure, Ravi, if you can hear me. Normal account when we sell land. See, okay. Now that 20% that you are talking about, right? That 20% TCS, it's actually TCS on when we talk about the sale of property, right? I believe that. So if you are selling a property as a resident Indian, then there is only 1% tax deduction. But when you are selling a property as an NRI, then yes, there is a 20% tax deduction. Again, so basically, see, TCS and TDS are kind of terms used interchangeably. Let's not go into the technicalities of these terms, but yes. So again, TDS is also the same criteria. It is not a final tax, it is an advanced tax. So for NRIs, it's a flat 20% TDS that is deducted on the sale of property. But there are provisions wherein this 20% TDS can be reduced or even can be nullified. And again, we provide those services as I mentioned, wherein for NRIs, you can sell your property without traveling and we will help you reduce those tax liabilities or even maybe bring it down to zero. Depends on the case to case. Ravi, I hope that answers your question. Okay, next question I see is Harry. I have a question on if someone has money in FDs at a bank and it's a regular account and the account owners are citizens of Canada now, is there a way to access that money without going to? Yes, actually, yes, that is where we come into picture. See, we can use that money, but first is if you are still showing yourself as a resident Indian, ideally that is against the FEMA law. So what we have to do is either we convert that account to NRO account or literally we have to close the account and open a maybe separate NRO NRA account in a different institution depending, but conversion normally all the banks in India, they allow that conversion online if you have access to your account online. Harry, does that answer your question? Or maybe we can discuss in detail. Perfect. Okay. Team, any other question related to if you do sale of agricultural land in India, which account should be used to deposit that money in Indian bank to transfer it to USA? Okay. Now, see, actually, when it comes to agricultural land, there are a lot of restrictions and lot of controls that applies, especially when it comes to NRIs. So there are certain conditions. Let's talk of, let's say if you are NRI, so you cannot buy agricultural land in India, full stop. Let's say if you had an agricultural land in India and it was before you become NRI, then yes, you can sell that land and repatriate the money. If it is in India, which account should be used to deposit that money in Indian bank to transfer it to USA? Now, see, again, legally speaking, if you have become NRI and the land was before you became NRI, you can simply sell the land and get that money deposited in your NRO account. Now, from your NRO account, we can remit that money to USA without any TCS, up to $1 million US. Does that answer your question, Navdeep?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Yep. And if there are any further details that you want to discuss, please feel free to call me. You can scan the code in my Zoom background. That's
Yep.
my WhatsApp connection.
Nitin, there is a question from Mr. Tejinder Singh saying that, can you go to LRS slide? I have a question there too.
Okay, maybe. Can you go to LS? I have a question. Okay, just a moment, please. Yep.
Yeah, hi Nitin. I want to know that you have mentioned this remittance from your own resident account to your own foreign account under LRS is a violation. So how to then remit from Indian own account to my own account in Canada?
See, again, so here what comes into play is if you have become NRI, right? Again, based on multiple statuses that I talked in the initial, if you are out of India for more than 182 days, or you have crossed 182 days, you know that you will be out of India for more than 182 days. Legally speaking, you have to convert all your accounts in India to NRO account. And once you convert your accounts to NRO account, then you can transfer that money using your the $1 million remittance scheme. Otherwise, you cannot. Does that
And
answer?
I have one more question for you. You know, there is a lot of we call, I'm going to use a word called awareness that India is growing, and the rate of interest are in India are higher, 10%, 11%. Okay, or you should take insurance policies in India. It's very, so there's a lot of news about that too. Now, if I go to India and if I buy an insurance policy, which is going to cost me maybe 1 lakh rupees or 2 lakh rupees, an annual premium there too. First of all, am I allowed to pay for the insurance premium? I have an OCI. Okay. Am I allowed to pay the insurance premium of my policy in India through my Canadian account? That's the one part. The second part of it is, as and when that insurance policy matures, 15 years, 20 years from now, I'm going to get a lump sum money. Okay. How will I be able to transfer that money back to Canada then? because actually it is I have paid for that money or for that insurance. So two parts of the question: can I buy the insurance policy in India and continue paying the insurance premium? And the second is, once I get that lump sum money, because they have this money back policies or so. So if I get that money, can I transfer that money to Canada?
See, for the first part of the question, Dineshji, I would have to actually check. That is actually a good question, and for me to understand if that is allowed. For the second part, again, it is more of a taxation question. But what I understand is if it is a scheme where you are investing in India, right? Money back scheme, let's say in insurance or any product. So in India, it will not be taxable because you are investing or buying it as an NRI, right? Or OCI. But there are different tax rules when it comes to your Canada filing, right? Because for Canada government, it is your investment outside Canada. And as per Canada taxation laws, all your global income also has to be accounted in your taxes. Now, if the case is other way around, since we are talking about insurance and the person whose life is insured is no more, and the funds are coming from that policy face value, I think then the case is different. But I'll get back to you with more details on this.
Thank you, Nitin.
Okay, guys, any question?
It is 6:53 at the moment. We still have 7 more minutes, so feel free to ask any question. Thank you, Nitin. You've given us tons of knowledge, tons of points to think about this. So I would highly encourage every member to utilize this opportunity to ask Nitin the question.
Contact info.
Sorry, Navdeep, you said something?
I'm just asking Nitin to share the slide with his contact info. So
Yeah,
we can
okay.
all keep that. Yeah.
Yep. Can you see this?
Yep.
Okay, guys, any other question? So
Thank you, Nitin. Thank you for a wonderful information. We have Harry Grewal, who's our co-chair for the Toronto chapter. I'll ask Harry to say a few words, and then after Harry is done, I'm going to share our upcoming events for the Toronto chapter. So over to you, Harry.
Thank you, Dinesh. Sorry, I was caught up in a in a little bit of a rush, so I couldn't speak earlier, but I'm in a quiet spot now. So thank you, first of all, Nitin. It's been great. A lot of great knowledge here. I have 3 different use cases for you, which I'll call you about. So thank you for sharing all your knowledge. Appreciate it, and thank you for everybody who could attend, and folks who know about PCC. Definitely try to get more engaged, and people who do not know about PCC. I appreciate you checking our website. I mean, I'm sure Robin from our team will follow up with you with more details. And Dinesh will share about one of the galas that are coming up, and it's all built on building a professional network. But I'll let Dinesh kind of speak about that. But it's been great. This is one of our first sessions. We'll continue to post and share more information about some of our next sessions that are going to come up in the following months. As far as sessions go, we're trying to do at least one session every month. So with the goal that we will we'll bring valuable topics that really matter at the end of the day, and not talk about philosophical things. But I'm sure philosophical things will come up as well. But thank you to everybody, Dinesh Ji, Robin, and Nitin for putting it all together. I'm sorry I couldn't contribute much to this one, but I look forward to having a larger part of the next one. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Harry. I'm going to continue from where I left. So these are our two upcoming events. On February 15th, we are going to explore US immigration's H-1B visa, L-1 visa, and TN visa. And David would be facilitating that session. David is a managing attorney with NPZ Law Group. So if you or any of your contacts are thinking or have questions about US immigration, note down the times, February 15, 6 p.m. Toronto time. We will keep circulating this information in the coming weeks about our next event on February 15. But as Harry said, we at Toronto chapter are very, very, very excited about our first gala, which is happening on February 24th, Saturday, where we are expecting more than 250 business professional, industry professional to come and spend the evening together. As I said in the beginning, the goal of the PCC is, or the mandate of PCC is 3C model: capacity building, capital building, and community building. And I'm so happy, along with Harry, Nitin, Gagan, everybody who's been contributing to this gala so far. I'm so happy that the community is so excited about this gala that we are still more than a month away, and 60% of the gala is already sold out. That shows that the work that we are doing, the value we are providing, we're trying to provide it to the community, is being seen by the community itself. So if you're still thinking about this too, there are individual tickets that are for $65. There are tables, there's sponsorship. Okay, talk to our chapter coordinator, Robandeep. She would be able to give you more information about the gala, and we'll keep circulating this information about the gala in the coming weeks. We look forward to seeing you all at our gala as we work on a mandate to bring the community together. And one thing I want to make it very, very clear here too, although we say Punjabi Chamber of Commerce, okay, we are open for all the business professionals. There was somebody asked me this question the other day. I think Nitin asked me this question and said, this is a Punjabi Chamber of Commerce. Yes, it is a Punjabi Chamber of Commerce, but it is a Chamber of Commerce. Okay. And we respect diversity. We respect everybody who has a passion to give back to the community, who has a passion to build a community. We are building a community of like-minded individuals. Okay. That's all from me. Harry, any final thoughts you want to share it?
No, that's about it. I mean, the goal is to create a professional networking environment for all our I mean, the Punjabi community and the wider Indian community as well. The reason being that we don't get a professional environment to kind of mingle across different professions within our community, and we have the largest community probably in the GTA or all across Canada, and a lot of professionals doing a lot of great work across different organizations. So our goal is to just kind of provide a collective platform for everybody who's interested in networking and expanding their business, or just in general meeting new people, to come together. The platform is built upon being apolitical and a-religious, so we do not discuss politics or religion. It's actually not even part of our agenda. The goal is to professionally grow, and that's what we're making our motto going forward. And that is really the value prop that we bring to the table. And as we build this, there'll be more programs that are geared towards people that are, let's say, looking for funding, or looking to get involved deeply, or looking to build different partnerships across the board. So essentially, it's an organization that has its roots in just building a professional network, and everything that you can build on top is going to be a personal effort on everybody's part. So we're excited, and we look forward to seeing new faces at our meetups, and especially at our gala. Thank you, everybody.
It is 7 o'clock, and we at PCC respect everybody's time, but on behalf of the Toronto chapter of PCC on behalf of Harry, Robandeep, and myself, and everybody. Thank you, Nitin. Thank you for your sharing your knowledge. Thank you for the time, and thank you all the participants who joined today.